Hello. How's it going? Happy Thursday. It's so nice we've had the 3 days a week stream lately, isn't it? I mean, I think so. I just can't do it all the time lately. But, when I can, I can. So, make sure everything's set up here. Got my live chat enabled. I'm kind of curious to watch the chat in the control room because I think I can do kind of cool things, but it's just not as good, like the size of it, for me. So you're wondering, what are those little things on my table? Well, I remember yesterday I said the afternoon would be spent making clothes for a little stuffed animal. Oh, I need to show you the stuffed animal. So I did. And, yeah, I don't like sewing tiny things. Let me show you this little thing wait. I saved it yesterday. Where is it? Wait, didn't I save it? Okay, I have another way to find it. Let me find it. I gotta show you. So my sister said all her daughter wants is clothes for her little stuffed animal. Here it is. This is it. We've all seen this little thing. She just screenshot it. So it's a little stuffed animal deer named Whisper, but my niece has renamed it Spot. So I was like hunting all over my office yesterday, like, all right, what do I have that's shaped like this deer? And I used to have a couple of little stuffed dogs made out of quilting cotton that I just loved the idea of making a stuffed animal out of quilting cotton. They're really cute. And I think I just gave them away, and I don't have anything in here except this ceramic chicken. And I know you're thinking that's not anything like it, but hear me out. So this little area right here is kind of a big area, and because it's an animal sitting down with its arms straight out, and on top of that the elbow is really like high up, it's not like a typical human shape, and obviously a chicken isn't a typical deer shape, but this is what I use. And so I was like putting like some of my tools sticking straight out from this like little shoulder area here, this joint, to kind of mimic it. So this is what I came up with. So I realized that the chest had to be really narrow, and then this whole section was really wide. So I made these little shirts. Oh, I already put it on wrong. Here we go. So see, now the legs can go straight out here, and she can get it on and off pretty easily. And then I made skirts to go with it too, because I don't want to make pants to go on this silly deer with the legs. So I made a bunch of skirts. The deer is identifying as female and wearing girl clothes. So I lucked out there because I don't think I could have managed other articles of clothing. So and I made her a bunch. Look at these little skirts. I made some seasonal appropriate things. So here's the holiday outfit. I've got a Halloween shirt. So, and then there's lots of different little outfits here. I put a little wolf on this one. So anyway, that's what I did yesterday afternoon. This one actually is I love the polka dots with this print. I bought this and I don't have enough, but I made me a Lucita dress out of this. And I made a Lucita dress out of this. And I've made a shirt out of this. It's like memory lane. I have a t-shirt out of this. Shirt out of this. Sleeves out of this. A shirt out of this. What did we do with this? This was something. This might have been left over. Was this something for hearts maybe? Anyway. That's my little project. I am now done with gifts that I have to mail out. So I'm going to put these somewhere safe. Somewhere I remember to actually finish doing the package and sending it out. So anyway, hey Allison. Allison, thanks for becoming a Patreon patron. Did you see the alert yesterday? Let's see it again. Oh, will it play it? Oh, is it not playing it? It's not playing it. Hey Malin, how's it going? So we're sewing the Pocket Bucket today, which is a pattern by me. It's kind of rare that I sew my own patterns here because I don't have a whole lot of them, and I don't really use my stream to promote my patterns solely. I sew anything and everything that comes our way. with you. So, but I just released these last week, and I didn't want to wait until next year to do a little sew along. So we cut out 3 yesterday, and one of them I'm super excited about because it's 75% size. Everything's falling off my cart right now. So I have this little one, and I also made it in waxed canvas, which is pretty stiff. I've actually never sewn this stiff of a fabric before, but I'm not going to use stiffener for this. So that's the... Oh, I forgot to pre-bind my things. Dang. Well. All right. And then I have a kit. One of the kits from the, because I'm selling kits that we already had pre-cut pocket buckets. Yeah, it makes it, you missed it because you were probably all off the screen yesterday, but we all saw it. It was cute. It's Pusheen like dancing and has a donut around its middle. One time I accidentally, the alerts on here, I accidentally muted the Patreon alert only. And it's just because it was just like a fat thumb thing, you know, like the mouse was close to another thing. And the icons for the alert, for the mini feed alert, like half of them, like, that doesn't speak to me. I don't know what that is, you know. I think it's this right here. Let's see, maybe I can. Yeah, and I've got it enabled again, but it's just never come back. So we all saw it. It was cute. Hey, Esther, how's it going? Hey, everybody. So anyway, I better get cracking because I have 3 of these to sew, and I didn't bind first. And one of them I'm putting the pockets also on the inside for this little one because it's going to be like a desktop pen or pencil holder. So yeah. All right. If you guys have any preferences of which one to sew first, though the kit, like I was saying, is those, we had extra cut out pocket buckets and vinyl and stiffener that we didn't finish sewing through. So I didn't want to donate all that fabric or throw it away. It was a lot. Like, it was a bin full. And I just thought I would offer them as kits. They're really affordable. I think they're like $6 for the fabric, and maybe, I think the whole thing costs $12 if you get the vinyl, the stiffener, and the fabric, which is below the wholesale cost. And I just saw Beverly's comment on my curtain bottoms. So yeah, I just want them to not go into a landfill, basically. And they are cut. They're a little tiny different than the pattern. I can show you the difference, actually, since we cut one out yesterday. So this is actual kit right here. So I'll show you the difference. This is probably what you want to know. But the thing is, like, if you use the kit, you don't need the pattern pieces to, as far as like comparing, but you can see that they're about 1/8 of an inch shorter, you know? And then I think the stiffener. So I'm just going to tell you if you need to make any adjustments as you're sewing. So I think the stiffener, if I remember correctly, is a little bit, like, it might be a little wonky. See that right there? A little wonky right there. I thought it was a little narrower, but maybe not. They're really not that bad. But some of them are, they look kind of funky. You know, like there's be like a little chunk of fabric out because it just didn't get cut straight or something. But they're fine. And that's why I'm selling them really cheap. I just don't want to, you know, sometimes it's hard to get rid of fabric. So. Nice, Esther. Aw, that's nice. You have a meeting on your break? Oh, your holiday break? Wow. Oh, we missed you too. Thanks. Yeah, I'm glad you're here. I know, it's so hard to manage these weekday types of live streams, so I hear ya. So I think I'm gonna do the other 2 first, and if I have time, I'll do this one, because basically this one is kind of reiterates the other 2. And it's not as, like, we're going to cover everything on the other 2 that this one would do. So we're just going to set it aside. I'm going to do the kit first because the little one's my dessert. So, otherwise I may never get to it. I know, it's terrible, huh? All right, I just need one label. And then I'm gonna cut my handle. Oh, I need to change my thread. 9. Put it right there. So if you have questions or you're struggling with any part of this pattern, or you have a concern, you're like, I'm not sure I should get that pattern because of X, Y, or Z, please ask. I'm not probably going to give very detailed sewing instruction because you get a video with the pattern and you don't really need to hear me reiterate all the exact same thing, I don't think. So I'd much rather focus on anything that you want help with. This is a really heavy duty pattern and it was really hard for me to sew it even though I designed it early on. And I definitely had, you know, my share of seconds that I couldn't even sew or sell or ship, you know. So I understand that. And I want it to be successful for folks. I think if you have a machine that sews heavy duty stuff pretty good, you're going to be fine. It's just the last step with the corners that can be a little bit tricky. And almost all of the testers were like, yeah, those corners were tough. But all their bags came out really great. I honestly think like very consistently, because the corners are such, I talk about them so much and I kind of probably make you worry about it when you shouldn't a little bit. The corners, people go in very cautiously. So I actually see, if I see anything in the sewing afterward, they usually reflect on my binding could have been better on any parts of the bag, not just the corners. So it's kind of funny because the corners, I'm always like, the corners are very heavy duty, but you know, really by the end, they're like, oh my gosh, I did it. It was tough. I had to kind of walk it stitch by stitch, but it was fine. And then they're like, shoot, my binding probably could have been better, you know? So that's the funny thing is that I don't make you worry about the binding and you shouldn't. So Beverly, I saw it pop up on my phone. That was awesome. Yeah, these are my new patterns, Esther. They came out last week. It's the Pocket Bucket, the Wallaby, and the Notions Wedgie. And if you're a Patreon patron, then Notions Wedgie's free. Here's what we're making today. This is the Pocket Bucket. So these corners are kind of heavy duty. And, you know, I've never sewn one on the canvas, so I'm kind of curious today. You can make it in vinyl or fabric pockets. And then if you make fabric pockets, you can hem them and not bind them. And then that way you've cut out a lot of the binding. All you have to do is that last step. It's a doozy, but you can do it. And like I say, I walk you through it stitch by stitch in the instructions and in the video. So, and when I get to that point, I'm definitely going to talk about it. All right, so I got everything I need. I didn't need to cut anything yesterday for this one because I had everything. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bind my vinyl. Because the kits came with vinyl and I don't have any more of this fabric, I had to do vinyl. I do have some fabric pockets today, but I think you're all pretty good at hemming, right? Oh, I need to thread my needle. Ooh, you know what? I actually want to change my needle too. I was so concerned about other aspects that I forgot to set up my machine. So, it's so funny. This needle feels okay, but I recommend changing to a new needle for a project like this, especially if you're sewing through the stiffener and the vinyl, which are both obviously very synthetic. I'm using a 16. I've used 16 very consistently to sew the Pocket Bucket. If you were using a lighter weight material, maybe even no stiffener, might be able to get away with 14. But yeah, be careful. I've used 16s, 18s, and 20s on this machine, on my old machine, not this machine. This one's calibrated. Probably all of those will work. Because I was still using it for production when I bought it. Okay, let's do this. All right, I'm gonna do some bonding. This is binding from the kit, so I noticed that some of the end pockets are a different vinyl than the triple and double pocket. Oh, I actually like to string them all together. See, like this is a different vinyl, but you really can't tell. You can feel the difference, but you really, it's pretty hard to tell. That looks like it's about to unthread itself. The good thing about this other vinyl is it has a texture on it, so it's very easy to determine if there's a wrong side or not, and it clearly has one. I mean, it's not like the texture would be bad to have facing out. I always go do the shiny side or the wrong side first when I do binding. So this is why I don't put the camera there. I was like, why don't I have the camera here? This is so great. I'm going to move my windows so I can see the chat better. I couldn't see the chat because of the camera. All right. Hey, Sydney, how's it going? Yeah, right, Beverly? That's true. Hey, Melinda, how's it going? Did you get to cutting the coat out yesterday? Yeah, those Wonder clips are definitely an investment. Get those errands done. I had to give myself some deadlines, like, you know, by tomorrow is my last day shopping out in the world, unless I think of something, of course. That way I don't, because I don't want to go out into the world and shop right now, but I really want to support the local businesses as much as I can. And I only had to have 2 things, I think, shipped. Just they didn't exist here. And I'm doing this kind of a special project, and I need things from like all different places. And so it's giving me a little anxiety to like go out and go to all these different places. But I was just like, all right, Sam, you guys set yourself a deadline. If I have a deadline, I'll actually go and do it. And once I'm there, it's fine, you know? Nice. Hey, Zach, how's it going? You're going to start quilting them today. That's so cool, Melinda. I can't remember. Does she know you're making it? Why do I feel so close to the machine? My back is really tight today. So we have our pockets. That didn't take too long, right? I'm going to cut them all apart now. I usually don't do the last step when they're still connected like that. It's kind of cumbersome. I'm going to attach my label now. I usually do it when it's on the bag, but I don't want to forget. I tend to forget labels now that I'm not production, you know? So, all right, so now we're going to prep the pieces. Those go with that, and those go with that. All right, so I'm gonna do my bottom. If anyone wants production tips on sewing something like this, please feel free to ask. I'm an open book about 99% of that stuff. There's a few things I protect. Mainly sources where I got stuff. I'm not just handing that information out for free. Oh, I think I ran out of bobbin. I was getting kind of close, but I already have one wound. And I wanted to finish that one. Because I have the other machine set up now, the bobbin issue is becoming a little bit of an issue. Oh, that's awesome, Beverly. No, I don't think that's sad at all. Oh yeah, giving tree thing, right. I forgot about those because I'm not out in the world. You're out in the world deadlines today as well. I love it. Yeah, my sister's present deadline was a few days ago, but then I added the deer clothes, so, you know. You know, my parents, Beverly, I don't know if they still do it right now. I feel like after the fire, everything kind of got out of kilter, but they, for years, had this thing where they would buy what they wanted for Christmas and then wrap it up. And then on Christmas Day, they would unwrap each other's gifts. So my mom would unwrap what my dad got himself. And then, and my dad would unwrap what my mom got. So it was really funny because It actually was kind of a fun thing for all of us because later in the day, because you know they'll open their presents at home and then they come over to our house, and we all know they do this, and so I would be like, so what did Art get? You know, what did my dad get for Christmas? And sometimes there'd be something really funny, like, oh, this isn't my next step, but I'll just do this step next. She'd be like, well, he got blah blah blah. I didn't know that was our budget. It's really funny. All right, so you can see like the stiffener's a little bit longer there. It's a little bit bigger. I'm going to bias the fabric towards the bottom because really you can lose height, but you want your pieces to line up on the other sides. So that was probably a little too far. And I can't stress hanging off the webbing a little bit enough. Like that webbing is not strong. It's very fragile. I know that sounds counter, but it really is. It's very fragile. I'm going to look at my lining piece. Yeah, that's fine. You need to hang it off that extra inch because if it lines up with the edge, I'm going to show you better in a second. I pivot right on the other side of the webbing too. And I'm going to, where's my scissors? Oh, darn it. I need those today for sure. Where are they? Oh, your neighborhood Facebook. That's great. Ray, I got the whole set. Yeah, you need to reinforce your webbing mainly because this little edge just unravels like a Dickens. And you can't line that edge up with the top of your fabric. Stitch it in there. Even if you top stitch it once, it will pull out of the seam. 1/4 of an inch hanging into the seam allowance is not enough for webbing. It's just not. Like, it seems like it's really strong, but it really will pull out. It'll just yank out over time. And not very much time. I'm not talking years. I'm talking about a month. So. Alright, so then I top stitch it. And then I'm going to reinforce that webbing again. Just to make sure. I do it right here, about 1/4 of an inch down. And so that webbing is actually, it's like down to here. That's maybe a little overkill, but it really does help. All right, so I'm going to secure all my pieces and put my pockets on. Well, I'm just going to secure the piece right now. If you end up buying a DVD set, Ray, of that, what I recommend now is getting one that has a digital code too. I actually really like that because sometimes I don't have the DVD player near me, you know, and I can just watch it online. I do it through Voodoo. I can't remember what it's called. Oh, that's cool. Your neighborhood Facebook page does that with the in need of help. That's awesome. Hey, Patty, how's it going? You got this. Right, exactly. All right, so then we'll do the other one. Look at this. See how different that is right there? I can't tell if that's the... I do not need this pin cushion, and it's about to end up on the floor like everything else. Don't twist your strap. I used to think like, oh, this won't, you can put this in anyway, and it'll, like, either way, you don't have to worry about this at all. I literally think I was getting lucky putting this strap in for years. And then one day, I realized that that's not the case. I don't know why I thought that. It's just one of those weird things. I couldn't think about it, like, correctly, you know? So, you need to have that right sides together. half even that up, but I'm going to, because this fabric is thin and see-through. So you would see it. I kind of get it going. This is pretty lightweight fabric. It was a art gallery print, I'm pretty sure. Actually, it might be Cloud 9. Maybe, actually, one is probably one and one's the other. I don't know. I don't remember. Never remember that stuff. Hey, Terry, how's it going? Just gonna secure this, and then I'm gonna put my pocket on. In production, they would probably never do something like this right here, like securing all of the sides. A good factory would never, not a good factory, a factory just wouldn't do that because it's extra sewing. Our factory did, though, on other things. They didn't make these. These were too expensive for me to pay for them to make. I had to make them. But sometimes it's worth the expense, like at least in our shop it was worth me doing it because it set me up for success later. And sometimes I would cheat and I would only do the bottom and it would leave these layers open until I put like I would like tack the pocket on. And that just, it was so fiddly, it wasn't worth it. I could have just top stitched around the whole thing and saved myself some time in the long run. You just got to pick your poison. Oh, I know, right, Terry? It does feel like, but you can really wrench on it. It's pretty surprising. Did you find that you could just wrench on it and you were like, okay, this is okay? I've never had one rip. I do backstitch at the end and the beginning of that when I sew the seam, not the top stitch, but the other thing. Because you are going to pull on it pretty hard to flip it to the right side. Hey, Walter, how's it going? Gray and chilly in Montana? So this pocket, it hung off a little bit right here. And I just, pivoted right there. So there's my stiffener, see? There's my stiffener. There's the fabric. So we can just trim that little extra off. We're staying true to the stiffener right now. We can get rid of this little bit if we want. Not completely necessary. Alright, let's see. Does this one need a little... That's not bad. I have a little bit of a tuck happening here, though. See that? That was always the thing I would have problems with. Because what happens is I come down this side, go around, go up, and when I go up, I didn't pull this down enough, and see I have this little bubble. See it? So how am I going to fix that? I've already stitched it twice. Too bad I didn't notice it before. But we can take out some of the stitching. Maybe. Let me get it started. This fabric is so thin, I'm a little nervous. I'm trying to take out 2 rows at the same time, too. You just finally pulled it quick and it was fine. That's awesome. You think this was easy to sew, Terry? I love hearing that. You got that new beastie machine. Yeah. I like the big machine. I think you're going to like the video I did, Terry, where I compared my... Why is this so hard for me? Where I compared the industrials. Hopefully it'll be live by tomorrow. I don't know, it never works to take out 2 rows at once. I'm being impatient, huh? Maybe I'll do one at a time. Let's see. No, I'm not going to do one at a time. Try and notice your bumps before you get this far. Okay, now we've released that little, see it? And I'm just going to pull it down into the bottom of the bag. You can see it's a little short right there too. So It'll help that issue too. And it just depends. Like, if you're okay with a tuck down here, then you could probably just do that, right? It's not ideal. But what I'm going to do is pull this pocket back, and I'm going to pull this to straighten it out right here. It's almost like right here, it's actually pulling in a little bit. So let's see if I can kind of finesse it a little bit. It's the inside of the bag, but still, you know. These lighter weight fabrics can really do stuff like this. I kind of pull it into the corner. I really don't want to catch my vinyl. That would really set me back. Not ideal. But it's down there at the bottom on the inside of the bag, and you probably won't notice. So that's what I'm left with. That's not bad. Is that a little too bright for you guys? See? It's not bad. Yay! Works done until January. Guys got your commands. All right. Set this aside. I always like to check, make sure they're facing out, both of them. That one time really scarred me that I did it and it was twisted. All right, let's see. Now I really toyed, you know, with this piece. I think that there is some merit to trying to sew this without putting the stiffener in the top seam, like cutting it short, and then just slipping the stiffener in there. So basically you would sew your two fabric pieces together and slip the fabric in there. I'd say like the project bag, but the project bag wraps over the top. But the thing is, it's fiddlier than you think to slip the stiffener in there and get it to behave. Walter's finishing all the things. He's finally able to start new projects. I think he's got like 2.5. You had 2.5 projects left for the year the other day, Walter. Right? I always pull on the lining underneath here. Because see, look, it wants to wrap like that. The lighter weight fabric is such a pushover. But once I kind of give it a little tug there, it pulls. Now let's look at this a little bit. Oh, I fell off my stiffener edge there. This time I'll stitch it from this side so I don't have that bump issue. I'm always kind of pulling all these edges together. I'm going to leave that one undone because I'm going to add the pocket to it, and that's going to sew it down. So let's do this here. I love this fabric. It wasn't one of the most popular fabrics we had, but I loved it. And I named it Night Flight. Did I name it Night Flight? Maybe it was called Night Flight. I don't actually remember where I got night from. So maybe night was already in the title of the fabric. It came in a few colorways too. And these are two different designers, I'm pretty sure too. They just coordinate really well. Walter is way ahead of all of us. You can do your gloat dance now, Walter. Do you have a gloating dance or something, you know, like, ha ha, I've got all my whips done. I am trying to sew a little fast, sorry. I'm going to sew this one down. And this one from this side. I have a little bump there. What is that about? It's like I'm not pulling it down well right there. I'm so out of practice. Let's see if I can smooth it out a little bit. Okay, let's see. This is definitely the type of project I'll just fix my errors just in case you get into the same pickle. I just needed to roll that up a little better. There we go. Get rid of those needle holes. Okay, that's better. I feel like I need to turn my heat down. Right, Ray? The project bag, the thing about the project bag that people were like, oh yeah, I need that, is the divider. There are bags with dividers out there, but a divider is harder to sew than you think. And I used to sew it completely differently, and it was a lot more work. And then I started just like, sometimes I just gotta sit there and just try all kinds of things, even things I know won't work. And I also had to let go of how much I wanted it to function like it was this sealed compartment, you know? And it didn't need to be that. I started thinking about how that divider functioned, and really all I needed was just to break up the contents of my bag. And like on one side I'd put my needle cases and extra yarn, and the other my whole project, you know. And so once I did that, I was like, oh, this doesn't need to seal on all three sides. It just needs to, you know, bisect it, and that's it. And that really made the sewing a lot faster and easier. Also allowing myself to use the vinyl, which is really affordable, because then I have to sew and finish fabric, because fabric is expensive. So that's, and the shoulder straps. Oh yeah, Vivian. You know, people say that about my old industrial, and I actually agree. Every time I use my old industrial, I'm like, ooh, it does sound really nice. I don't like how loud this is on this one. And my other industrial isn't loud doing that. But it doesn't do that anymore either. But when it did, the like heel lift or knee lift thing, it wasn't loud. Because when Rayanne had her, she had one that sounded like this, even though it was my age, the age of mine, same model. I actually had the mechanic try and make it quieter. All right, so there's a little, okay, the pleating was something that there were a few people that were a little confused on how to do it. So you just need to leave clearance over here for the binding, and I would allow 3/8 of an inch. So, machine, I think it's noise. What do you, oh, just machine, there you go. And if you just do machine alone, do without typing anything else, just like you did commands, just do machine. It'll tell you about them. Yeah, like that, exactly. So you can make these pockets, you can make one like really big right here, and then a tiny one over here, and just trim off your vinyl, you know? You can put these however you want, however you're going to use them. So you just need to pleat. There's 3 notches here, and you're pleating toward that center notch. You can even pre-pleat this. I feel like every time I sew this, they fit differently. They measure perfectly. If you measure the pattern pieces and get all these threads out because they're really hard to get out later, no matter what, they always pleat. I always have to adjust the pleats to fit. I think the best they ever fit without any adjustments is on Spoonflower Poplin. Spoonflower fabric is incredibly accurate. It stays incredibly accurate from the time you cut it to when you sew it. And I think it's because the ink stabilizes the fabric so it doesn't relax and kind of grow before you get to sewing it. And the poplin's pretty crisp. So I just kind of, you know, pleat my pockets here. Try and keep them straight. I actually look at this needle parallel to this edge. And I try and keep the folds of this pocket parallel to this edge. Once I do that, then I pull it out of the way. Here, let's get this one, this pleat, a little bit more straight. Yeah, there we go. Pull them out of the way. And give myself the target. I didn't add, I should, you know, you could add more markings, but it's just not how I sew. You're right, Terry. Yeah, they're just fun things. Hey, Debbie, how's it going? Oh, I'm glad this is your stress reducer. I'm glad you guys are getting into the commands. They're really fun. Okay, so there we have one more, and then we're assembling this pocket bucket. Just line it up in the corner there. All right. This one never used to be finicky for me, and lately it has been, this last pleat. It's kind of funny. I'm definitely out of practice. It's really easy to forget this stitch right here. I've forgotten it. That's the one of the things I did the most, was forget that stitch. Get all the way to the end. Non-sellable pocket bucket. Yeah, there's a few encoders out there. I used to use OBS, but I find Streamlabs to be a lot easier, even though they're the same people. They're both free. So, all right, we're gonna sew this together. You could tack it first. I don't, only because there's a chance you might not stitch in the same spot, and then your stitching shows. I'm gonna get rid of this extra stiffener so I can see where I'm going. Oops, wrong sides together, or lining sides. What is Streamlabs? So when you live stream, when I live stream, YouTube doesn't let me just go live. You have to request a key. It's called a stream key. And then they say, all right, yeah, you check out. Here's your key. Oh, why is this so much narrower? Uh-oh. Why is this so much narrower? Well, that's okay. I don't mind cutting down the bottom. And the other thing is you can't just stream with your stream key without a middleman. So you need, so to speak, and that's the encoder, and that's Streamlabs. So I'm doing everything from Streamlabs. There's lots of encoders, I think, out there. I'm going to trim this down. I'm not sure. I think it's a little bit wonky there, but I think that'll be okay. I'm just kind of surprised because these fabric pieces and these fabric pieces match the stiffener. Just trim that off. Better than it being, this one being too long and the bottom being too short. I actually checked all these pieces, so I'm kind of surprised of that. That one got by me. Put my stitching back on there. Just keeps it nice. Wait, what is going on here? Oh! I've never done this before. I'm blaming this on you guys now. I put my pocket on sideways. Now I know why that was too short. Wow. That's not my finished edge. That's my finished edge. Well, poop. I don't want to take that out. Could I? Could I? Ugh. All right, well, at least I know now the bottoms are actually okay. Dang. I've never done that before. Well, this will definitely summon Nancy. Right? I think I can salvage this. Oh, except that I just cut the vinyl. All right. I think that's going in the garbage. I'll be right back. Let me go get another one. At least that takes 2 off the thing. Let's see. Okay, okay. Ah, you gotta love sewing live, right? Okay, so here we go. Let's bind this piece. I've only made 1,000 of these. The funny thing is, when I was, at one point when I was, I think, at one point I actually did think, oh, it's easy to mistake the top edge for a different edge. And I think where I actually went wrong, wait. No, that, see, the fabric would have been sideways, so I just put the pocket on the wrong way. That's the top edge. See, I make the mistake so you don't have to, Ray. Oh, man. You just gotta keep on smiling, right? And throw it in the trash, you know? But, you know, don't do that with your kit because you don't have a replacement like I do. I could have salvaged that, but I'm not going to make you guys wait for me to rip all that out. So, I'll just rip this piece ready again. And now I think my, let's see, what will this piece be too, that piece is too small now. Can I make it work? Can I make it work? Might be able to. I just got to make the these pieces a little narrower. That was my first clue. Oh, you're welcome, Debbie. I'm glad to hear it. What's this little thread here? I always get that little funny dip there. We all have our little things, you know? All right, so let's make this a little smaller. since I just did that to the bottom. And then let's see, will I be able to get this on? Do I have enough clearance? I think I can. I think I can. I'm gonna have to trim off like a little bit. Like almost an eighth, like not quite an eighth, but almost on each side. All right. We're back. Phew. Okay. Never happened. Let's get this back. So now we're good, right? Wait, did I stitch down my pockets yet? Oh, I didn't do it. It's on the other one. Okay. If you had done that, well, if you had done that like the exact same error and you bought one of these kits, you're going to have to take it apart. You may have to recut your vinyl piece, but if you're really careful, you can just put your needle in the exact same holes, because this is the only part that's exposed, right? So if you're really careful, just remove this and then stitch it, you know, remove this really carefully. I would do it from the back side. That way you don't slice your vinyl. The steam ripper loves to slice vinyl. That's what you saw it happen right here. I could have still made that work, but yeah, if you need to make these pockets bigger or smaller, the place to do it is in the pleats. And if you don't get these pockets identical, it's okay. No one's really going to notice that. It's even if it's really egregious. I've noticed that you just don't notice it. So don't be too hard on yourself. Just try and get your line still parallel to these edges, and that kind of smooths it all over. I know that seems like a weird thing, but this little stitch line right here, these pockets being straight, is a little bit more of a calming influence on when you're looking at the bag, as far as like covering up errors. So if your pleats are different widths, just keeping them at least parallel, that kind of helps cover that up. Bye, Debbie. Have a good day. So yeah, and then yeah, you need this clearance right here on either side. So you could technically need 1/4 of an inch. That's what the binding is going to be. But I think giving yourself 3/8, I made it bigger than how we did it because I feel like that makes it a lot easier for folks, because then they're not worried about catching this little pleat in this binding step, right? Because if you do catch it right here, what happens is this little fold is actually caught in this vertical strip of binding right here. And so, you know, pretend like, you know, that it's caught right here. That is a little weird. You will notice that. And you cannot fix that. You can't fix that at all. It is, unless it's fabric. You can fix it if it's fabric. You cannot fix it if it's vinyl. Fabric's far more forgiving. The vinyl, you can't come back from that. So, and there's definitely been, you know, times where I will catch it down here and I'm like, well, that's it. That's a second, you know. So, and that one I hadn't allowed the 3/8 when I created the pattern. That was, I think, the one I sewed on camera for the video, so I didn't really need it there, but I did eventually. I was like, you know what, this would be a good idea. All right, get all your threads into that bottom seam. I do back stitch here. I know I don't back stitch very often, but I do back stitch there. Okay, put this in the trash so you don't use it again. Because we're gonna hoik on it right there. I'm gonna trim this a little bit flush. Get all those threads into that seam, and then you can cover up all that hoo-ha there. And it makes it look like it looked beautiful the whole time you were sewing it. All right, let's put this pocket on the correct way. Now I'm paranoid, of course. You like orange and magenta together? I like orange and magenta together too, actually. I think that sweater I was wearing yesterday was like that. So I gotta remember that I made this a little bit smaller, so I'm just trying to compensate on the fly so that the pockets are roughly the same. Yeah, that pocket bucket being those colors, there's an actual reason for that. The orange and pink together. And it's from when I was a kid, and my mom would say, I really loved pink and orange together and yellow and orange together. I still do. I love those colors together. And I remember I had a little pink shirt, and I had yellow corduroy pants and orange corduroy pants. It was the 70s, people. And my mom was a nurse. She worked long shifts. And so I got myself up and ready for school and stuff. And I went to school and I dressed myself and all that. I was a little older. I was like 10. And sometimes she'd be home for that. And she would see my outfits. And she'd say, I just want you all to know my mom is not like this now. At all. And you have to remember, this is what I think. I think when you're a single mom, when there were no single moms around, there were very, very few at the time, she really wanted to present, I don't know if this is true, I should ask her, but this is what I think. I think she wanted to present like, hey, we're doing just as good as everybody else, right? And she was, like, we lived a really good life, we had a really nice condominium and this gated complex next to Disneyland. But the other parents would kind of not let their kids play with me because I had a single mom. I think that's so funny now, sorry. I just want to know, single-handedly converted every kid in that complex to believing in Santa again, because they'd be like, nuh-uh, Santa is your dad. And I'm like, I don't have a dad. And they were like, oh my gosh. And so they understood that Santa was real, So I reminded them of that. But one day she was like, Emmy, my family calls me Emmy. Emmy, when you're getting ready in the morning, I want you to look in the mirror and say, would mom like this outfit? And this is so funny to me now. Because she wasn't there most of the time. And I was like, sometimes I'd be like, would mom like this outfit? Nope. But she wasn't going to see it. Like, definitely wasn't going to see me going to school and coming home in it, So, but those were my colors together. I loved it. And so I would literally wear these two colors together or yellow. Those three colors, yeah, made me really happy. I have to ask her if she remembers even saying that to me. I was such a tomboy too. If I was going to wear pink, it was probably on my terms. So there you go. My mom is so creative and so supportive of all of us doing whatever we want. She's not judgmental or anything. So it's funny, She was also, you guys, at the time, she was probably 29 years old too, So she was younger and she knew people were already judging her for being younger and being single. Why aren't they judging my dad? He's the one who bugged out, right? She was the one working full time and doing everything, I'm not, I have a few more, Mrs. Necro. You're good. I made a big mistake, so I am not almost done. Oh, really, Melinda? God, I love that. She wasn't happy? Why? So one of the brands I really loved was Oilily, very Scandinavian company. And when they pretty much sometimes would exclusively use those colors. I was in heaven in my 20s. All right, so I'm just going to check. So, because of the kit, so when you're sewing this, you want to line up the juncture of the seam. Here's the seam allowance. Here's the seam. The seam is like 1/4 of an inch in. You want to line up that juncture to the top of the bag right here. But if I do that, you want to do this on any pocket bucket you cut out and sew, not just the kit, because things just happen when you're sewing. Things change a little shape, maybe trim a little too much off, or make your seam allowance a little bit bigger, or maybe whatever, you had a little boo-boo like I did and you're trimming off the bag, right? So more importantly, you want this raw edge to extend 1/4 of an inch past the seam right here. That is far more important than how it lines up at the top there. But look at that. That's pretty shy. Ooh, that's pretty shy, honestly. I'm going to try and kind of fix a little bit, because I've trimmed a little bit off and I'm losing a little bit. So I'm going to make this seam down here a little smaller. So then when this is sewn, it'll have this little step. So you're really kind of going for it to line up right there. So there's no step between them. So my stories are great. I don't know. I have to say, like, when I've had friends in the past really agonize over becoming a single parent. I'm feeling down about it. I've known lots of people that go through that, and I say, you know what? I loved it just being me and my mom. Like, I loved it. I didn't imagine it any other way. I've never felt like I was missing out on anything, and we were happy. Like, you know, and my mom dated, and she dated a bunch of jerks, but she was like, she left those jerks behind, you know. Usually they were doctors. So, I just always tell them, if you love your kid, they're going to be fine, you know? Don't be too hard. Okay, this is huge. This is kind of a huge stretch to kind of mitigate, so we're going to do our best. Even I would be like, ugh. So, okay, if you find that you're in this situation, before you've attached your pocket, you can check this. What I would do is shorten this piece here before you put the pocket on and put the bottom on. That is one way you could fix that. So you just need it to be this long, right? You would need your raw edge. Like, line it up like this so that 1/4 inch seam is lining up right there. Go to the bottom and then cut this piece to match the length of this one here, and then attach your pocket, and then attach your bottom. So, right, Melinda? Exactly. You guys are fine. You're not distracting me. I like to blame things on you. I've never made that mistake, though. It's like the first time. Maybe I did it on purpose. I don't think so. I really want to sew that small pocket bucket. I can't wait. This isn't one I planned on selling. Good thing, huh? All right, so one thing I'm making sure of is these pockets under here. See how this little folded vinyl is really close to this raw edge, which is where I'm about to sew? You want to push this away. Now, if you want, you could, you know, maybe pin through your binding to push it and hold it out of the way. If you're using fabric, you could pin it like right here out of the way. Keep your pins well away from your sewing since you can't see them. They're on the underside. I put my finger under there and I sweep that vinyl away a lot at this point. And then you're going to get to the crook of this seam and sink your needle in there. I'm kind of looking at it. I can kind of feel it. You can kind of see a little bump that your needle kind of nestles into right there. And now I pick up my presser foot and I'm going to pull this over. Use your muscles. And mash. Mash your bag. Mash, mash, mash. Do not worry about your bag. It will be fine. If it's in the wax canvas, we're going to see a lot of character. It's going to be more rustic. And same thing, you're going to just get your needle in the crook of that seam there. The bag should be extending past that, about 1/4 of an inch hopefully. and pick up your presser foot and pull it over. And then mash the bag down. And get your raw edges to line up. And push the pockets away underneath and on top. And now you're really thankful that you have 3/8 of an inch there and not a quarter. Because you can kind of fiddle with that and keep those pockets from sneaking under. So. Right? Exactly. Oh, right, Beverly? Hi, Louise. You're half watching. Nice. Yeah, I just, and then when my mom got remarried, I loved that too, but I definitely went through a phase of kind of mourning that, it just being the two of us. But, you know, I was also like a preteen, so any change was hard. And I was a little bit bratty about it, and, you know, I just missed it being the two of us, you know. We were kind of a really good duo. But I really liked my stepdad a lot. We had a lot in common. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I did not like moving away from where I had grown up, because we did. I didn't like that because it was that kind of age. But at the same time, I didn't think about it until we were at the new place. You know what I mean? Like, I enjoyed it at first, and then I was like, oh, none of these people know me. All right, now double check your bag in there. It's really hard to fix anything going on in here after this. Trust me. I know. I'm an expert. All right, so same thing. Line up your bag. So it's going just past that seam down there. That's better than lining it up at the top. The binding's going to cover up a little bit of that discrepancy. Mash the bag down and get it under the needle. Mine always gets, on this machine, the little bump of my machine bed and the table, it's you can't ever see it, but it's actually about 1/4 of an inch. It's kind of a lot compared to that machine, which is flush. And it really hangs me up when I'm sewing these bigger bags. All right, I'm sweeping that pocket away. Getting that juncture. Presser foot up, pivot, bag mash. And if you have a machine like this, don't accidentally press too hard on your heel. And I've done this before. Clip the thread and spit it out right there. It's kind of a bummer. I only laugh because I did it twice on camera when I was filming the video, and I've never done that before. And I was just like, really, now while I'm recording this video, now you decide to have a heavy heel? All right, so pushing that pocket away, mashing the bag. You're doing a lot. If your machine has trouble sewing with vinyl, I always recommend putting a piece of tape on the underside of your presser foot. This felt really weird. I hope I didn't catch the pocket. Just try and keep the machine only in contact with the fabric, between the fabric and the vinyl. Obviously, I tacked my pockets down. I didn't have any trouble, but this machine actually sews on the vinyl pretty good. Some don't. Oh, I did tack my pocket. Well, there you go. This bag is doomed. I knew it. I felt it. Well, dang. I'm just not a good example today at all. Good thing I'm not selling this one. I'm disappointed. It's not, yeah, so it's flush, exactly. I wonder if it's this generation, because I think you and I have the same year. It might be the tables. I also find that this table is really fragile. The surface is really fragile compared to my other one. The other one looks like wood. It's not, though. It's also a laminate. But it doesn't have a chip in it anywhere. And this, you know, remember my box light fell and it just broke it. And then you can't really see, but right here, that's from my screw punch, or maybe the rivet. And my machine chipped right there too. And I have all these little gashes in my tape. All right. So see, this has nice, good clearance. We knew I was gonna have trouble doing that one because it was narrower. And see, look, I did catch it right there. I didn't catch it over here. Almost. But I did catch it right there. So I'll show you what it looks like when it's caught. If you're giving it as a gift, they're not gonna really know or care, but it is kind of a bummer. I couldn't have sold or shipped it that way. I wouldn't have. Even though it doesn't impair the function, it really doesn't impair the pleat, but it's visually, it's not good. All right. So, serious bag mashing again. Here's the magic tool. It's just an awl, but it really helps me do this. I have to say, this is my favorite binding to use on really thick projects like this. It's probably like Art Gallery or Cloud Night, but it's on the really thick stuff. It's nice. It's thin and crisp, and it really behaves well. On something thinner, it does get a little bit slack and torques a little bit, but on these really thick projects, it's great. I feel like I'm kind of doomed on this project here. I think the kits are also a really great place to practice sewing your pocket bucket because you're not out all of the cost of sewing a pocket bucket. Get that label moved over. They wanted to poke out there. That's just the end pocket, but it can still slip under. It's not as hard to keep out of the way as these guys, but it can kind of sneak over there. All right. I keep seeing my phone light up. Out of the corner of my eye, I don't see what it is. I see it when it's dimming. Mash. I was trying to pull it up over the corners before I even start. So when I get here, all I have to do is fold it one more time. So here's that little spot I caught the bag. So I'm going to try and cover it up with the binding. I'm not going to stitch it again, but I am going to kind of cover up my boo-boo with a little bit of binding if I can. I'm so trained to sew this a certain way, it's hard for me to allow the extra right there. So let's see if I did. Hopefully I did. Oh, I lost my thingy on there. Home stretch. Oh, you guys, I was featured in 2 newsletters yesterday. You know, right at the end of the stream, the my stream wouldn't not go live. Like I ended it, but it wouldn't end. It kept circling, and I was like, huh, I don't really want an error where my stream goes for 20 hours like it did those 2 times. So I kept watching it, and then my alerts went crazy. In fact, I got so many subscribes in a row that the little alert was glitching. I was like, what's going on? And then my friend, Brooke texted. She goes, hey, look, check it out. And I was in the Cashmerette newsletter, and I didn't even notice it. I got the newsletter, and I noticed that they have PDF things, but I actually thought that was the end of the newsletter, and I was below it. And they shared the Ames genes, which that's really awesome. So if you're new here from Cashmerette, welcome. Yeah, we do this live, so you can, chime in and chat with us. And then later in the day, Hearts Fabric shared me in their newsletter for the apron, so that was pretty cool. So, all right. Let's see. This looks pretty good. We know it has some ugly secrets. Where's that boo-boo? Here's my boo-boo. Oh, I didn't really catch it. Very good. I would probably go back and fix this. I think I was overcompensating there. And then I would cover up this little stitching here. I'll try and do this right now, but I admit, like, this is something I kind of need my full concentration for, to fix a corner like this. If you're in this boat and you have to fix something like this, my recommendation is to set it aside, and then tomorrow, the next day, pick it up and just don't look at the spot, but just kind of go and see, does your eye actually notice it? Because what I'm about to do to try and fix this, it may end up making it worse. And do we really think that it needed it? Like this is a bag that's probably going to sit in my studio, or I'll donate it or something. I'm not planning on selling this. Do I really need to fix it? No. Especially if I'm donating it or something. I don't really need to spend a ton more time on it. It's still a great bag that someone probably never noticed. And that was just like a little fold. It's a little weird fold right here. Why it didn't lay. Can you see this right here? I don't know if you can. That didn't get folded in there very good. And like I said, I was trying to keep the fold a little wider, which is kind of contrary to how I sew it. So I say that also, like, sometimes if you have kind of a big mistake and you're kind of like, ew, I'm not okay with that. I say look at it later, not even in an hour, but give yourself a lot of time and just kind of glance at it and see if it really pops out at you. If it's going to a non-sewer, ask someone around you who doesn't sew if they notice it first. They most likely won't, and you don't need to fix it, and then you're done. You're literally done, and you don't have to go back and try and perform a miracle, which is kind of, what ends up happening. All right, let's get that fold back in there. The binding's nice and stretchy. Not to mention whatever's happening on the other side right now of this corner. I could be sewing on the vinyl on the other side now. Hard to back stitch when this is behind your presser foot. All right, well, that's better. Let me show you. Cut my threads before I forget, though. All right, so this is that corner where I snuck up onto the fold. Oh, nice. That's nice. You had a little snow. So you really don't. I mean, like, would that really bug you? Still has its full functionality. If you put something in there. So, all right, cool. That's the kit. I obviously made that look really hard. Got everything. Give it a good you always have to do that to make it sit nice and flush. I just see all these threads on there. All right, cool. Let's sew the little tiny one. So I just printed the pattern out at 75%. Never done that before. I do have a few handles. And so what I was going to do, what's 75% of 14? That would be 8.5, right? Right? You're the new Sienna. The new Southern California. Yeah, right? Exactly. It's good as a gift. It's good for yourself, too. You don't just give the gifts to, you know, people we don't like or something. The things we don't like. All right, so the handles I have here. Okay, this goes down here. Where is... Oh, here it is. So I made this handle for a bin, and it was just too short. So what did I just say? This is actually 75% the size, I think, of the handle length. Look how tiny this is. So it might work. I'm gonna use this plus sign. I really love this. It's on the bias, so it looks like X's though. All right, so we're going to bind these widow pockets. Ten and a half. Oh, So this is like 9 1/4. So what do we think of that? So if this is, let's see if we can kind of mimic the bag. It'd be like this. It's gonna sit on the desk. Oh, this is the only spot not magnetic on my machine, of course. I'll just do it right here. I'm gonna like figure it out here. Let's see if it were like right here. And this was my bag. That could work. I don't know. Maybe this is more trouble than it's worth because I have to deal with this extra different width too. I'm just trying to use those handles that I made. Yeah, me too, Mrs. Necro. I know. When I made this design, I was inspired by something that I had seen at Target. It didn't look anything like this. Like, you know, that's how it always is, right? You see something and you're like, And it was in probably the baby section for like organizing near a diaper changing station. I'm trying to remember what it looked like. I just can't remember. We didn't have cell phones back then. Not like they are now, not with a camera. Get over there a little more, please. Because right now I'm using things like this. Like these little trays I made from the bin pattern with the lid pattern. I was trying to get the bird centered in there, but I kind of gave him a lobotomy. So I think this will be nice because it's upright and I can kind of divide it. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, Terry. It's so small. But I'm wondering, like, maybe I don't want to handle it all on something like this because getting things in and out of it. But it is nice to pick it up and take it wherever I want. So, all right. So let's do, I'm only doing 2 pockets on the interior. And I cut another double and another triple. So I'm going to hem these. I've never put the pockets on the inside, so this is an experiment. Ooh, batiks, man. They're so funny sometimes. Looking for those notches. I'm not doing stiffener on this one either because the canvas is pretty hefty. Okay, so let's assemble our pieces. We don't have stiffeners. This is really weird. Really weird. No stiffener. It's so freeing. All right, and we have the ends. Set you aside. Ends. There, you. Okay. So if I did that, I'm thinking I could, you know, sew it lower. Oh no. Yeah, I know, that's what I was thinking. It would keep the things, yeah, exactly, in line. Just think maybe if I could do this. That's pretty thick even for my machine, but I don't have stiffener. I do have, this is really stout though. I don't think this is, oh yeah, this is about, I could just do that. How about I do that? I've been using all my samples from vendors lately. So nice, so fun. They don't give you very much. Okay, so why is the stiffener really, not having the stiffener really throwing me off? It's funny. Ooh, do I need to change my thread color? Yeah, right? Yeah, I don't want to, I need thread color. Ooh, it just stays down. Look at that, it's so easy. I don't even need to top stitch that. The wax canvas is just like, bam. But I need to top stitch my handle. Do I have something? Let's see what the bobbins say. The bobbin's like the crystal ball of my thread selection. Right? It's going to determine. Ooh. Well, that's probably not enough, but let's try it. It's not enough for the vinyl either. Okay. Which one are you? Oh, dang. I don't see it. I mean, I see one here, but it's not enough. Oh, yeah, those aren't enough. What if I did... I mean, that'll work, right? I have that as a bobbin, too. Okay. I did. Yeah, you're right. It was a different canvas, though. It was much lighter weight. It was that other brand that I tried out, whereas this one feels stiffer than the stiffener. Almost, you know? That one was easy to sew it as the weight, but it was a little tackier than this one. This one's not as tacky. Oh, I love the urgency of that, Mrs. Necro. I wish my husband felt that way about his, because I see those little birds and they're looking at us and I'm like, I'm sorry, he's in charge of that. His birds. Alright, I'm gonna top stitch this. Maybe I should have left the cream thread in. So now I've heard of people getting a buildup of the wax, but it hasn't happened to me the couple times I've sewn with it. Oh, are you guys gonna tell me that my camera was still all funky? Oh, see, I should have changed my thread color. I knew it. Okay. I'm still in good this. Okay, you. Here you go. Talk about a fabric that's just not gonna like budge or relax, you know. I never liked a dollhouse. Like I had a dollhouse, but it wasn't my thing. I loved the idea of it because everything was small, you know. But I think the most I ever played with it, what am I doing here? Was when I got baby chicks when I was a kid and put them in there and then they pooped. So that didn't last long. Oh, the kitty. His name is Ollie now. He is such a love bug. He loves Cricket. Like, he adores her. Did I literally do that thing? Oh, no, I didn't. Oh, I didn't. I couldn't feel my webbing, and I thought I sorted it. Shoot. He loves her. He will sit on her lap for the longest time. It hangs out. Comes every time she calls him. We don't know if he's microchipped or anything like that, but she has been asking in the community pages for anyone missing a cat. But he's attached to her. You can tell he's definitely been with humans before. Like, he's not a stranger to them. He seems far more comfortable with me and Cricket than my husband. So maybe he lived with women or a girl or something. I don't know. I heard a little cat like upset in the middle of the night the other night, and me and Michael jumped up and went out looking for him, making sure he was okay. And when I walked out there and I called him, he immediately appeared and came over to me. I've gotten to pet him and meet him, and oh, he is so cute, and he feels really healthy. He's not skin and bones or anything, but he's definitely not plump. Like, he's definitely been living, you know, on the land. And he has some sort of little hidey hole behind Cricket's place, keeping him protected. But he sleeps on our deck a lot. So Michael will see him in the middle of the night just sleeping on the little couch out there, that run-down rattan couch out there. And Cricket is all about taking care of him. She like went last night and got him a little bed, so when he's sleeping there, he's a little warmer, because it's in kind of the tunnel of wind. If there's wind, it's chillier on that side. He has plenty of places we've set up for him to hang out, and she's made a little fort under a chair on her porch, and he sleeps in there. But he won't go in her cottage at all. He is not comfortable doing that. So it's kind of just trying to figure out what he's comfortable with, and we're just chipping away at it, because we'd all really like it if he would just come in so we could protect him, because there's a mountain lion in our neighborhood right now, and I keep hearing the cows out there getting stressed, and there's coyotes. There's a lot of critters, dangerous critters in our area. So I don't want him to get snacked on. Raise your hand if you think I should have ironed this. I'm going to iron this. You don't usually have to iron, but I should have ironed this before, you know? Would have been nice. Can't iron it when it's done, you know? I'm picturing this on my desk, but maybe I'll give it to my mom. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, that's the kitty update. She'll be like, "Can you feed him?" She'll be at work. He waits for her, and I'm like, "You would never feed wet food to Haku. You're totally doing it for Holly. What the heck?" Come on, warm up, warm up. I usually warm up the iron before the stream, but we just haven't used it much. Ooh, look at the little spirals showing up. That was kind of cool. Okay, here it comes. Yeah, there's the steam. All right, now I'm done. My table looks so weird. Okay. So let's sew this together. Boy, it's like just zips along because it's not so thick. It's so satisfying to just fold the canvas, you know? I really want to sew the other one so that you can really see the difference in size, like one next to the other, because they're the same fabric except for the lining. I didn't have enough of that IKEA curtain to do both. I thought I would, but I didn't. Alright, so now we have this dilemma of 2 sets of pockets. So, how am I going to do this? So I could pleat this, and then, I mean, I could just stitch this to here, you know? Try that. I probably want to change my thread color then. So let's do our vinyl ones first. This is the double. Let's try this. I've never done double pockets. The only thing I'm wondering about is stitching down the pocket and not catching the other one in a bad way. So I'm going to stitch these, I'm going to pleat these separately. Now I could just do them both separately and then maybe, I think that would be okay because they're going to be tethered around the perimeter. So maybe I will just keep it separate. I guess you could do this before you attach it to the top. We're figuring this out as we go. Let's do our other vinyl. I'm in try hard mode now. So we're getting it all figured out here. This one has the triple. You know, I think I pleated, I mean, I notched this front back, but I didn't look, I'm not used to this piece having the notches, and the notches for that pleat, the first pleat to go to on either end. And I'm not used to having that notch, so I keep forgetting to look for it. And none of my fabrics were directional on the two I cut out, so I haven't really noticed if I've been sewing it and not lining up to it, or if it's on the side seam or something. Ooh, these pockets are tiny. They might be too small. Depends on what you want to put in them, I guess. Let's see, I kind of want to push this a little further away, like that. All right, so let's get our divisions down. Other one. Okay, now I'm going to switch to the cream thread. Here we go. Yeah, I think the small pockets just make you organize it further down, right? You know, so then maybe you do your pins by color, you know? All right, so did I run out of, where's my cream bobbin go? What do I do with that? Do I really have 2 empty bobbins? Wow, I feel rich. Except one needs to get filled. Thought it was caught. Okay, so now let's do this one. This is the double. This is the triple. I think this is gonna work. Never done this. If you were doing kind of a say you wanted to do a really big pocket bucket, I think sewing, and you wanted internal pockets, even on the regular size one, I think the only thing it might happen is it would pull this layer away from this when it's all in there, you know, sewn together. But like I said, because it's secured around the 3 sides and it's a relatively short distance, it's probably fine. But if you made your pocket bucket bigger, you might have some issues with it pulling away, which would make your pockets a little bit weaker. Oh, I kind of overlapped those. They're on the inside, huh? So I used to always make pocket buckets with fabric pockets. That's how it first came. These are so little. It's kind of hard to maneuver them. And this was obviously a really expensive thing to make. And if it's expensive to make and sell, people don't buy them, but people really wanted them. So making the pockets into vinyl solved that. It kind of helped alleviate the cost. Okay, so there we go. Now it all lines up. It all still, like, I'm really surprised. Like, this piece is still fitting perfectly. You know, and I say that because sometimes when you start stitching a lot on a piece of fabric, it draws it up. And I'm actually really surprised. Look at this. It just fits perfectly. I'm shocked. Honestly, I'm kind of shocked. I never usually have that kind of luck because I'm such a puller. Wait, why is this? Well, now it doesn't feel like it's lining up. It's because I'm pushing the pocket out of the way. I'm just going to, you know, secure it around the perimeter. Give myself my best chance. I'm a little bit off there. Ooh. Okay. Same here. This one. Get all this into the seam allowance. My machine lately sounds different when I'm winding a bobbin. I don't know why. So that notch that's right there on the pattern to line the pleat up to, it might make the distance between the edge and that pleat a little less than the 3/8. And I think that if you can adjust your pleats, you might appreciate still having that 3/8 if you reduce the size of your pocket bucket. You still need the same seam allowance. Even though we've decreased everything, you'll still want that. It'll just make your life easier, you know. Now I don't have to worry about these pockets lining up one on top of the other. I think if you wanted to, you could push this away and just stitch one more time from this side if you just wanted to kind of tether it down. Because who cares if you line up line it up as perfectly on this side, right? You just kind of want it to be pretty close. It's kind of hard to see in there when you go to use it. It'll become small for that. Okay. Get rid of some of these threads. This looks a little bowed out there, doesn't it? It is kind of bowed out there. That's why. Scissors. Cutting anything with these scissors is really fun. They're like incredibly sharp, but cutting any length, it's like an inch long blade. So it's not really meant for cutting fabric out. All right. All right. Now for the money shot. Smaller things on the desktop. Okay, yeah, so those will be like that, you know, inside outside pockets. It's wee or twee. I don't really need to trim because this wax cotton keeps everything so accurate. And it doesn't unravel, you know, like the threads of the wax cotton, there's not a single thread coming off that wax cotton. You gotta look at the advantages when you're sewing something that, you know, maybe a little new or harder. It could just be harder because it's new and you get the hang of it. This is such a pet peeve. My machine does this to me. you know, I was noticing when I was demonstrating the back tack for someone that it doesn't really do that on the natural back tack, but, or the automatic back tack, but I don't like using the back tack. I'm getting a little obsessive about making it look nice because it's so cute. Okay, I'll carry on. So what are you guys sewing holiday gifts right now, or are you guys done? So someone sewed 5 Suki robes, and then she sent me a picture in my Instagram DMs. They were so pretty. I was like, 5 in like 3 weeks. Ooh, this is hard to cut through the vinyl and the canvas. Hope I don't have to trim that. They turned out that like all of the colors coordinated with one another too. It looked like a rack in a store. Beautiful. Okay. All right. This happened right here because I trimmed that edge up and it trimmed off my stay stitch. Let's put it back in there. Okay. Now, so I think I'm going to put a couple pins in here because keeping these pockets out of the way on the inside might be a little hard to do when you're already worried about it from the right side. So I'm going to stick to the fabric only. Am I going to pin this? Okay. Sheesh. We'll just pull these over and just pin to the lining only. Just like this. This kind of just helps. You don't have to worry about it. You can do this on the outside if your pockets are fabric too. You know, I've done this plenty of times. You know, Terry, I was thinking the same thing. Like, I kind of want to do like a deep clean and organize here. And I was like, no. That is a distraction. Because I have 2 big videos I want to do. And I really want to make an intro. So I was going to pay someone to do it like on Fiverr. And I was kind of shopping Fiverr one night for like hours. And Cricket walked in and she's like, what are you doing? Because I was watching like people's sample videos for their portfolio. And I told her my idea and I was like, you know what? I like when I started finding, I was like kind of trying to narrow it down. And then I was like, oh, that's kind of, this is the kind of genre I want. I didn't like what they were doing, but I liked the genre of it. And I was like, okay. And she was like, oh yeah, you could totally do that. You know how to do that already. And I was like, oh, I didn't think about doing this myself. And then I was like, God dang it. Now I have to do it myself. So then I kind of waffled with, because I'm not an expert. I don't know really how to do it very well. This like type of filming. But I've done it. And so it would save me, you know, $1,000 to do it myself if I wanted to. This is the price spectrum on Fiverr for an intro on YouTube for like a 5-second intro and outro. It's either $55 or $900. There's no in between. So it's kind of a tough call. And I forgot to mention, you want to push these seams towards the bottom under here. I don't know why I didn't think of it on the others. I just do it so naturally. Pivot. So I want to do that. I need to do my year-end video like I did last year. And then I have like a bunch of other videos, like smaller ones. So I'm trying to do all that. And I want to redesign my website. So I'm not going to reorganize my studio. Doesn't need it. It just sounds like a much more pleasant task. Mainly because it doesn't need it. It may be a little messy right now, but it'll clean up. It'll be fine. Okay, that wasn't too hard. I do got to trim this a little bit, and I think This was it was a little hard to trim that bottom edge with the vinyl in there. Oof, and the binding. Ooh. These scissors are not the sharpest anymore. Can I get the binding around that? I think so. Maybe I could trim a little bit with these. Oh, that was a lot easier. The thing about these scissors is that you can't push down any harder because they're squishy. So you kind of got to shave it off a little bit here and there. Hey, Daphne, how's it going? Nice to see you. Happy holidays. What are you up to these days? Oh, that's nice, Mrs. Neck. Are you making a hat as a gift? I'm baking cookies. Wait. You're a couple of flannel mat. Oh, that's nice, Ray. That's cozy. I like that. Right, Ray? That actually, I was thinking the same thing. Not that I want to get into that type of filming, but I always still learn things when I do things new, you know? And the truth of it is, it really does need to be 5 seconds long, right? I can do anything for 5 seconds, right? I mean, it'll take 8 hours to do that 5 seconds. Oh my gosh, Daphne, that's right. Your post, I literally every time see one of your posts on Instagram and I'm like, ooh, that looks yummy. And I'm like, oh, it's soap. You keep debating me with your soap. You know, like I'll be scrolling through and someone's posting fudge. Clara Parks has her caramels. You know, Angela Tong's got her Japanese food. You know, Call Me Am Bam has her like vegan food. And I get to Daphne and I'm like, oh gosh, that looks so good. And it's soap. Like, dude. All right. This feels really thick. A little nervous, a little nervous. Lift it up. Pivot. This feels really thick right there, and it looks really thick right there. Did I not go far enough down? Let me see. Maybe I can go farther. Whoa. I'm like turned around now. Wait, this is how I do it, right? Yeah, I do it like this. Oh, that felt okay. Okay. Psyching myself out. It feels so different. It feels really thick, but the machine just sews it like butter. The canvas is really nice to sew. The vinyl's probably giving me more problem. I'm telling you, you keep fooling me. You had one and I was like, oh my gosh, is that like some sort of like pistachio, I don't know, not fudge, but so when Michael had his hip replaced, we did it in Belgium. And there's a whole reason for that. It's not some sort of like, you know, it's just that was the only place they were doing it. They were only doing 100 of those surgeries in the United States at the time. He needed his. He could not wait at all. Like he had like a month window. They were like, because he had necrosis in his hip. And they had already done the 100 surgeries by the end of January in our country. They were all slotted. So we had to go to Belgium, and we went to the doctor that developed this sort of technique. So I love checking out foods and stuff like that when I'm there. And they have this white stuff. It's solid white, like it looks like white nougat, and maybe it's nougat. And it has like almonds maybe in it. It's not marzipan, and it's hard, and it's so white, like brilliant white. It looks like plastic, And I kept seeing it the whole time we were there. We kept going to this Belgian waffle place, and we get a Belgian waffle, we'd eat it, we'd see that, and we're like, you know, it looks weird. And on the last day we were there, we were like kind of buying our gifts, me and Nicole. We bought a lot of Belgian chocolate. I'm not a fan of the style of Belgian chocolates which are filled, you know. It might be Divinity, I don't know. I did. No, did you really? Yes, I thanked you for that. I did. White with, it wasn't pecans, it was almonds. So this is the thing. What's Daphne's, is it the same thing? Same Instagram handle? So then we're on the plane, flying home, which by the way was the longest flight of our lives because everything happened that went wrong. It was like 35 hours. And I opened that package and I was like, all right, I'm going to try this stuff because what else do I have to do? And I was so into it. I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. And the thing is, their packaging there is in Flemish and they don't translate it. There's a lot of pride for their language, and I totally get that. So they don't translate everything into English. It was hard to read ingredients and things, so I never figured it out. But I love it. I did see your super chat. Thank you. I love that you like the Pocket Bucket drama, except, you know, I don't really want any Pocket Bucket drama. Is it Divinity? So the way this was being sold, it felt to me like, because it was everywhere, it felt like it was a Belgian treat. Like it was theirs. Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of countries make the same thing, right? It's not like just exclusively theirs, but they specialize it. Plus panuche. What's that? Ouch. Okay, there's a pin in there. Dang. Alright. I gotta get the pocket. I have like a lot of pockets. Looking for my corner turn. It's a little small. Like you can see, I'm kind of struggling even to mash it because it's so small. The thing is, with it's small, you don't have to do as much, right? The pins are kind of scaring me more than anything else right now. Okay. I'm actually really liking sewing with the canvas. It's a little bit, like I'm definitely putting a little bit of muscle into it, but when I get it to the spot, it stays there because the wax canvas just likes to stay in the position that you put it. So it does have it does help you a little bit. Okay. Oh, I already sewed that side. Usually I do both and then I didn't do it. Brown sugar. Oh, French nugget. You know, there is French spoken there. Maybe. Hello, Dorte. How's it going? Nice to see you. Maybe. I don't know. I've tried nugget here, but it honestly tasted stale. And kind of like a stale oil. It was not in the same league. I couldn't even finish it. But Daphne's making stuff that reminds me of that. I want it. And it's soap. I have a funny soap story. Have I told you guys my funny soap story with my mom? I hope she doesn't watch. There was that, do you guys remember when soft soap came out? Like liquid soap? That hasn't always been around. You know, now we have foaming soap. I mean, hardly anyone uses a bar of soap anymore. And my brother and sister were going through this phase. They were much younger than me. So they were like like toddler, you know, pre-kid size, you know, and they were saying this made up bad word to each other. So it wasn't a real bad word, but it was made up, and it meant a lot to them. It was very, very insulting to each of them. It was bodino. That was the bad word, bodino. I'll never forget it. And ooh, this is looking so cute. Look at those little pockets in there. This is all mine. And so one of them called the other that, and it was some drama. I was at school, and I got home, and my mom's all, so I kind of did something today, and it was kind of awful. I was like, what? She's like, well, I think it was Brett called Laura Bodino. She goes, so I was done. Like, she's never washed their mouths out with soap. That wasn't something she did. She never hit us. Never did any of that. But she had it. She was running a daycare too, and it got out of hand. And so she's like, "I'm gonna wash her mouth out with soap." So it happened, and she went in the bathroom, and she had to open his mouth, and she squirted soft soap in there, and it was bad. Like, it was so bad, like than just putting a bar of soap in your mouth, right? And so she said his reaction was so bad that she goes, when he left, I tried it on myself, and she said, oh my God, it was so bad. But she couldn't let him see that because she was still pretty angry. Oh my gosh, I was laughing so hard. Yeah, I was in like high school, and they were like, what were they? Probably like 6 years old and under. Yeah, so, you know, because it's liquid, it just instantly got into every little nook and cranny in his mouth. Because he's a kid, too. He's not going to be, like, savvy enough to be like, you know. And then on top of that, to wash it out, it was just sudsing and sudsing. Yeah. She never did it again. You know? This is like a mom who never, you know, did any kind of corporal punishment. So she wasn't very good at it to begin with. So, she had a little wooden spoon with a cute little face on it. She never used that thing. Yeah, right? Bar soap, gross enough, but soft soap, whew. Soft soap when it first came out, too. It wasn't even, like, refined. I can't tell if I'm fiddling more with this because it's canvas or because it's small. You know how small things can be a little harder? It doesn't feel too hard at all. Like, I'm actually really enjoying it, and I think I'm gonna make another one because I like the size already. I kind of want one in a little more cheerful color palette. I love this color, but you know, kind of wish I had gotten to use the IKEA stuff. It's moldable. Look at that. I love the distressing. Yeah, isn't her soap amazing? Look at that little handle. Oh my God. I gotta go get my stuff. I gotta fill it right away. What do I got? What do I got? This. Oh, she felt so guilty, Glenn. So terrible. Like, she said she kind of cried a little bit about it, but like, we were sitting there in the bathroom laughing so hard. And when she told me, like, this was hours after it happened, you know, it was like hindsight. Okay, bye, Sydney. Good luck. Oh, it's crowded. I'm sorry. When you have a teenager that loves to drive and will go to stores for you, it's so nice. She's kind of over it right now, though. She's kind of like, cause she gets yelled at by anti-maskers all the time. So she's a little like over people in general. Okay. So these are my favorite pins. These little, if you ever see these, especially in this color, I will pay you to get them for me. I can never find them. This right here, I have a little package of just this color is what I want. Let's put them in here. Let's put all the black ones in this pocket right here. Right here, okay. And we'll put our purples in this one. Oh yeah, this is, am I giving you guys envy or what? Where's the orange one go? Fine, it can go with the black. Ooh. And then we got our washables, my staple remover. Oh, we got this one too. Put that one with that. I can put a little rotary knife in there. I got the little glue pen. I still have a little room in there too. And I still have all the outside. Yeah, well, Louise, it's where she works. She works at a candy store. So, you need to, well, and you need to in California right now anyway. But, yeah, anyway, I won't go on and on about it. It's just stressing to me thinking about people yelling at my kid, especially when she wasn't even 18. I was just like, isn't, you know, come on. It's her first job. She's just doing what her boss told her to do. She's super nice about it. She's really nice about it. She's told me her whole spiel. She says first, you know, like, hey, how's it going? How are you today? Thanks for coming. And then she'll be like, so, do you guys have a mask with you? Because our store policy is you need to have one. But if you don't, I've got one you can have. And then they go crazy. So she tries. The outer one's kind of better because it's stiffer. And this is a bigger pocket there. Do you guys want one? Isn't it cute? You guys want to see the difference? Where's my full screen? Where's my mouse? Okay, there we go. Oh, you can't see. There we go. That's 75%. Isn't it look like 50%? So you could put, you know, I think this would look that in here. I use these. I actually will put my scissors in this one here. Point down, it's fine. I've never had any problems with it. These might poke through. They're very sharp. They go crazy, yeah. Yeah, they do. They kind of do. Yeah, I'm happy with it. I wonder how this could work for like knitting or crochet supplies, because then you could just have your tools in this, and I think I might handle sewn on straight. Look at that. Yeah, well, it's tough for her. It really is. It's tough because she, you know, she doesn't have a lot of experience working retail yet, you know, and I think, like, personally, the way people treat a lot of young people is it's terrible. I don't think they understand that, and I felt this way before I had my own teenager, but I don't think they realize that really they're the ones acting like the ass, you know, not the teenager. And the teenager may not be saying things in the most nice way, but to expect them to have the smoothest, most elegant, most polite well-crafted way to say anything is a lot to expect of anybody, let alone someone who doesn't have the experience in practicing that. And I think like you have to give them a little bit of grace, and then maybe even just being polite back and saying, oh, thank you, you know, will probably make them relax a lot, and then be so relieved and so appreciative that you're not just a mad adult, you know. So yeah, I don't have any respect for people that just assume teens are bad and treat them that way. And I'm like, you know, they're still learning. They're not really adults yet, even if they are legally. So yeah, it is. And I will, Glenn, I will say things. It'll almost pass out when I say things, but I can't handle it at all. I can't handle injustice like that. It's one of my things about me. So even though I almost pass out, I still can't stop myself. I would be like, you know, you're being really rude. You know, there's no reason to talk like that to anybody. So it's tough. I love the small one so much. I want to make one out of different fabric now, even though I really love this. Why didn't I iron that? Bad, Jeremy. All right, cool. All right, so we have that. And then we have the ill-fated night flight. But we pulled it together. Did I forget I forgot my label on this one. Oh, well. The label looks really good on this fabric. Yeah, this handle length was really good. So this handle on the 75% size was a little over 9 inches cut. And I'm still hanging a handle down in there. So I actually like that. Like this one sits lower across the top than this one does. But like you guys told me, if I were to do a 75% length handle, it would have been about 1.5 inches longer. So it would have been a little taller. It would have been more in proportion to this one. Yeah, I like isn't this cute? And can you see the print on this? It's very subtle. Tula pink. See the scissors? She does these really amazing prints like this where there's a lot going on in there. I really centered the book. So there's nothing else but the scissors on this one. And then, yeah, this one, I think is in the same line. It's like this Maker's line she did. I don't have hardly any of it left. Wasn't there two? Oh, the other one's over there. The other one I did a house print. And the binding as well. See, is buttons and pins. Yeah. So, yeah, it's really cute. It's Tula Pink if you ever want to look it up. And it comes in other colorways if this isn't your jam. So, what I like about this webbing is it stands up. So my webbing over the years will stand up, and then I'll get a batch and it doesn't. So one of the things I've learned, like I needed a bag once personally that's handle stood up and it stopped, and I ended up sewing something right here, just like another piece of something down the center, you know, something I could get still under my machine, you know, because you know where you can mash it, and I just sewed something straight through here, and it helped it stand up from then on. Yeah, the longer does. It works if you need clearance though. So if it's shorter, the problem with putting this handle shorter so it doesn't flop is that it's hard to get things in and out. Yeah, I think she does, Louise. She does a few different things. She has a few licenses. One other tip I wanted to give you, I think it might have been Mrs. Necro, brought up the idea of making this a sewing machine cover or a sewing machine like bag. And I love the idea of this. And I was actually thinking about it that night. And what I think you would want to do, if you wanted to do that, is I think in your brain, I would think, oh, you want to make it longer on this end. But you don't. You actually want to make it longer on this end. so that the handle is going over the middle of the machine, right? You don't want the handle going this way. Also, I don't think the handle would be strong enough to hold your machine. So maybe you would want to just put two of these side by side so you had the double, like this. This was what your bag looked like on one side. But you'd have to be able to get your machine into the bag. It was, Mrs. Necro? Yeah. So, okay. So this is what I was thinking. I think that the better idea would be to flip it over and put a hole here. And then this go over your machine, adjust this, like maybe you make this straight across, right? You just cut this straight across. You put all your pockets lined up down here. Put a hole here for your handle of your machine to pull through. And then it's just a cover that goes over your machine, Like, well, let me show you. Because I don't know, I like that idea. Let me get my demonstration machine. I mean, look, it would work for this. Right? So, but, this machine I could carry in here. But what I'm thinking is, what if this bag it went like this? Let me put the full screen on again. Boy, stop that. Stop that, please. There we go. Why can't you guys see now what I'm doing? Jesus. Okay. So what if the machine, you made the cover so that, it was straight across the bottom, got rid of the handle, and you made it so that it fit over your machine. And, like it was shorter, but there was a slit here, and then the handle of your machine could poke through there, right? It's a perfect match. I got my machine, going to the store. So, yeah, then you could line up your pockets along the bottom. Just flip these over, basically, so all your pockets are lined up down here. And you can still put stuff in there. What if one of your pockets was big enough to hold the foot pedal or cords or bobbin case, whatever, So it did get me thinking. I like the idea a lot. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could. But if you wanted it to be portable... Yeah, you could do the bottom. Yeah, exactly. Right, Glenn? They're heavy, too. My problem is mine's the same way. It has a vinyl cover, and it slips over the top. I think that's what gave me the idea. So when Mrs. Necro was like, oh, that could be a great sewing machine, I was like, oh. I would not trust this handle at all, except on this machine. But I would trust it like this and using your handle through the bottom. Oh, yeah, right? So, Terry, yeah, and so mine is like that. It's a hard plastic one, and it slips over the machine and just snug, like it fits perfect, and then the handle pops up. But it is kind of heavy and bulky, but it does fit like the foot pedal on the outside, the book, and a few other things. Doesn't fit the knee lift arm very well. It's kind of awkward. It also has like a mount on the outside for like a big table, like to make the bed bigger. But one of the things snapped off, so it doesn't stay on the cover anymore. And yeah, like you're saying, it's kind of bulky. So when I'm at home, finding a place for that cover is kind of a pain. But you could still, put things in your pockets. I don't know. Maybe that would be a lot of work for your machine cover, but it's kind of an interesting hack. Maybe I should do it sometime. I like the idea that it would be really lightweight, and you could even make like one of your pockets flat and zippered. You could really customize what went into your pockets for your machine. You could do this for anything though. Anywho, let's just admire this little guy again. It goes with the sewing machine, right? It's like the same scale. I'm gonna have to post them together because look, it's like this. Oh my God, it's the same scale. Oh, that's why you're thinking that? Yeah. But you know, Ray brings up a good point. I don't know if you have the bin pattern, but you could actually use the bin for a cover. You know? Yeah, I think it would be fun to experiment with too. And then, like, you know, if you were doing a bin, don't I have one of those here? I thought I just had one. Oh yeah, I do. So, ooh, oh, if I want to upset that. Yeah, so if you made your bin to fit, you know, over your machine. So when you got to this part during the handle, you know, you could, you know, draw your handle. Let's just draw the hole, right, for your handle on the fabric. And then what you do is you would cut it out like 1/4 of an inch away from those edges and then slit to the corners. Then you could poke that fabric once you know, cut this out, right? I love giving you tutorials you didn't ask for. Right, so we'll pretend that we just made our slit for our handle. So you could just make a bin, an upside down bin, or just a bin, right? And then flip it over. Because the bin can be made in whatever size you want. That's what the chart's for. That's how that pattern works. So then you have your hole, like you've cut this into the bottom of that, and then you could push this back and push the lining back, get rid of the stiffener. You know, cut the stiffener away a little bit bigger. You could probably do this actually. You could even do this before you even sew your bin together, because the bottom is assembled. Ah, sorry, this wheels are spinning. Oh, it doesn't have a handle. Yeah, so, well, you could then make it so that it's then the project bag pattern. I don't know if you have that one, but that will be better. Get rid of the divider, make the project bag fit yours, and then you have 2 straps to hold it by. I'm gonna stop. Okay. This is the problem. I'm a pattern drafter. So if you're a designer and you're around me and you come up with an idea, I start figuring it out. It's why I stay away from people like that always have ideas that would be great if I did that for them. So, that's true. You know what you should do? Yeah, I do know what I should do. Hey, it must have a handle. I mean, this one doesn't, but I hope so. First, you gotta add a handle. Okay, so Saturday, I'm gonna be sewing wallabies. And that's this pattern here. There's no room over here. It's littered with stuff. That little pocket bucket, yay! So this guy's pretty big. It could eat one of those pocket buckets. It's really big. It's so dark in there, sorry. Big base, look at that. Holds a ton. I think having 2 handles instead of 1 and carrying it down to the bottom of the back. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think if you want it to be under your machine and holding it, you're gonna need to make the handles very strong. That's why I say, like, maybe making straps that come straight down, you know, so you have 2 long straps go above like this. 1 on each side. I think that would be far more secure to hold your machine. You know what I love about that idea? And this makes me want to do it, is then you could wear your sewing machine on your shoulder. And rather than holding it by its handle down low, my machine's really heavy, my home sewing machine. So I think I like the idea of making a bag that I can actually put on my shoulder rather than holding it, because it also would free up my hand to hold something else. So I like that idea. You're making me want to do a cover too for mine. I don't even really use it. So, but it would be nice if it were a little easier to tote around, like a mashup. So anyway, we're making wallabies on Saturday. I'm also making a small wallaby, but it won't be as twee as that one is. I have been wanting to trim these threads for days. I kind of want to cut one out that's like 50% size. That's really tiny though. So, but I'm not. I'm going to just stick to I have two cut out, one in a waxed cotton canvas. That's a different canvas. It's a lot more pliable, the tackier one. And then one in this really big, kind of cool print. Yeah, right? Me either, Mrs. Necro. Yeah. I don't even wear a purse. I have one. I have like 2 or 3, and I get them out occasionally. And in it is my wallet, my glasses, my phone, and that's it. And 2 reusable bags, and my lip stuff. I don't even have anything in there. So, yeah, shoulder strap, exactly. Or chest. Yeah, this is the full-size wallaby. It's kind of hard to tell how big it is, but it's pretty big. I'm sorry, it's so dark. It has a pocket in there. And yeah, like the whole pocket bucket fits in here. I showed you yesterday. This is, people really wanted me to make a bag that would fit a large project, bigger than a sweater size project. And the straight up reason I couldn't is that I couldn't make one in materials that would be affordable for people. So this was one of the last products I designed, this one and the Quickie. And the Quickie was a needle case that was like held everything. This was the closest I got, except a roll top bag that I did in one of the limited edition crates. And so this was my solution. So it does hold a lot. And it's more of a bag it would sit next to you, you know, but it does have this little handle, and then it offers that stability. Anyway, I'm not trying to sell it to you. I'm just telling you about it. I'm sewing it on Saturday. It'll be fun. Watching this being sewn is kind of fun. And I have a really great tip on how to attach it so you don't get this buckling you see here, because I get that too. I didn't use my tip on any of the ones I sewed recently, so I'm going to show you the tip I have for that. What else? But you have time to cut one out by Saturday, and we can sew together. I'm going to make 2, and then I'm going to make 2 Notions wedgies, I think, too. So, all right. Cool. Well, good luck doing the little bit of gift sewing you guys are doing and knitting. And I will see you Saturday. So, I am. It's fine. Okay. Oh, man. All right. Getting punchy. So, thanks for coming, you guys. Thank you for the donation, Ray. I really appreciate it, as always. And I will see you guys. Oh, I forgot to bring a persimmon today. I ate mine right after stream yesterday. It was so good. I'll see you guys Saturday. Same time, same place. 11 a.m. Pacific. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Bye.